Happy Friday, everybody. It's 10:06 in the morning in St. Louis, Missouri. I am John Huff, joined by Roman Bishop. He is also part of our podcast, not on the show. I'm still trying to get used to this. Brody Herman, Ryan Swingler on the ones and twos. Thank you all for joining us. And it's always happy when it's Friday here. And we are coming off of a huge basketball weekend last week, and we got a lot of stuff coming up tonight and tomorrow night on Saturday. First off, we got to review the Highland shootout, which was a smashing success. Really great individual day shootout. It's one of the best ones that you'll find in the entire country, loaded with basketball. Mississippi East St. Louis game because a few East St. Louis players were suspended and were not able to play that game, but they're all back moving forward this weekend. So that was a little bit of a damper, but we had a great game between Webster Groves and Inglewood, California. Two great players, Jason Crow Jr. from Inglewood and then Scotty Atkinson, both committed. They put on a show, as did Jackson Tabish, who is a really good starter role player for the Statesman there. Chaminade, they were able to come out with a come from behind victory over Logan and Rogersville, 62-57 in that one. And Highland also participated in it as well. They lost to Waltonville 61-49 in that one as well. And then Vashon kind of got handled by Warren Township 82-61. That's a really good team up there in Chicago. And then, then the Principia game, Principia East St. Louis. Brody, what are your thoughts on that?
Obviously, John is referring to the two East St. Louis starters. I believe they were ejected prior at the previous game, which was against Belleville West. Controversially, they were playing Belleville West, and I believe it was Devin Houston and Penn State commit Jamison White that was not there. It did not live up to what people really wanted with all of the starters really going back and forth. They ended up winning that game, Principia 88-54. And, at least Alex Johnson had a really solid performance, 21 points. Phillip Jones at 21 points. However, the Principia Panthers now moved to 13-1 and are one of the best teams in the country, as by basically every site, Max Preps, USA Today, all of them, they rank Principia in their top 10. The USA Today ranks Principia 11th, but they should be top 10. 13-1, and they're going to play Calvary Christian. That's a team from Florida at Missouri State. Bass Pros Tournament of Champions this weekend at Missouri State University. Their national schedule continues, and you'll like this matchup, John. They're going to play Kankakee on January 23rd. That's going to be next weekend. I think that'll be actually a very interesting game. So Principia's got a lot of national opponents coming down the pike as they prepare to win a state championship. John actually tweeted this. He tweeted that this Principia team since Chaminade in 2016.
Yeah, as far as how talented they are, their height that they have is pretty rare for a St. Louis team with all the Sekou Gassama. He was actually the MVP in Louis. He had 20.
Sekou Gassama played at the Smet.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, Sekou Cisse. He had 25 blocks and 12 rebounds, I believe. And then Quentin Coleman, he got a lot of his points late on, but he finished with 22 in the game. So he had a really nice second half of that, some early foul trouble. And then Principia, they're so balanced. Like I said, they have a lot of height and shooting ability is really good. And they're loaded too. It's not like they just have, 5 or 6 or 7 really good players. They got about 10 guys. They could have their own other second starting lineup if they wanted to, and that's how loaded they are. And you certainly wish that White and Houston were both playing in the game, because it would have been a different game if they it would have been
a lot closer, I think.
Yeah, I still think Principia would have won. I think they're a better team overall, but that's just my opinion. But they've certainly proven how great they are.
They certainly have. And a Cardinal Ritter suffering a loss to Fishers in Indiana. That's a bit rough.
Yeah, it was a rough game, and we kind of thought it was going to be because, Ritter, they had a few players that have transferred out this season to their better players. And then Fishers, they're the number 1 ranked team in the highest classification in Indiana. So it just kind of knew, you knew where this one was going to go. Yeah, and it got pretty ugly right before halftime, and that was the final score, 61-37. But I don't think that was really shocking for anybody.
No. And of course, if you want to call in to the Gateway Sports Venue High School Sports Show, that's 855-282-8255. Again, that's 855-282-8255. And you want to text us, you want to text the Gateway Sports Venue High School Sports Show, that's 314-590-3770. Again, that's, if you want to text us, that's 314-590-3770. And without a doubt, John, the way that, it's kind of been this season, there's a lot of teams that have kind of emerged that have, really come out ahead. But let's dive in. Let's talk about, we have new conferences, John, and the St. Louis Suburban League football conferences for the 2026-2027 season. If you want to follow the X account, that's at GSV_STL in all caps, you can find it there. And we have the Suburban Yellow, Eureka, Lafayette, Lindbergh, Marquette, Rockwood Summit. Suburban Red, we have Hazelwood Central, Hazelwood East, Parkway North, Pattonville, Rittner, and Seckman. Suburban Green, we have Fox, Hazelwood West, Ladue, Parkway Central, Parkway West, and Riverview Gardens. The Suburban Orange, you have McClure North, Middle, Parkway Coast. Suburban Blue, Afton, Clayton, Brentwood, Jennings, McClure, Normandy, and University City. What are your thoughts on the new Suburban Football League St. Louis area conferences for the 2026-2027?
A lot to unpack here. I'm really excited. This is a 2-year cycle. Conferences are set for 2 years, and then teams can apply to go up or down or stay there. And there's tiers. The Suburban Yellow is the best one. The Suburban Red and the Suburban Green are pretty similar. I guess the Suburban Red's supposed to be a little better than the Suburban Orange is the 4th tier, and the Suburban Blue is the 5th tier. I mean, that's where you get the smaller schools, and then there's schools that just have not had much success right there. But yeah, the Suburban Yellow is, I don't in the state, because it's, the Suburban Gold probably in Kansas City and the MCC can lay claims to that, and also the COC and the which is where like Nixa, Webb City, and Carthage are right there. But it's packed. And the Suburban Yellow, Eureka, Kirkwood, Lafayette. I mean, those are, Lafayette 2 years ago. Well, really, these last 2 years, they've been really dominant. They went undefeated in the regular season. This past season, lost to CBC in the district championship game. Just had one really good team was going to have their season end early there. Kind of unfortunate. And then Kirkwood, they're back-to-back semifinalists, and then in Class 6 and Class 5. Berg was a little down last year, but they're typically pretty competitive. They had a really unfortunate year where they had, I think, a little under 20 players were injured all at one point. And then Rockwood Summit, they've been really consistent. They've been averaging like 8 to 9 wins like the last 4 or 5 years now. And so that's a really competitive conference. And the Suburban Red is just pretty wide open. It looks like, Hazelwood Central, they've been on some downtimes recently, and so they've moved down from the Suburban Yellow to the Suburban Red. And then Hazelwood East, they move up from the Suburban Green. I think they've been conference champions, I think, 3.
Are there different levels to this? What are the tiers in the Suburban conferences? What's the highest level? Is that yellow?
Yes. Yeah, the yellow is number 1. The red is, we'll say they're number 2, and then the green is a close number 3, right next to 2, and then the Suburban Orange is noticeably, they're at 4, and then Suburban Blue is at 5.
When have they started doing the colors as like tiers? Is the thing a few years
since 2020?
2020.
They've implemented it because I don't know if you remember, but in 2014 they started doing it was still kind of the conferences, but they named them differently.
Right. I remember.
Yeah, but for a very long time, up until 2013, for a very long time, you had like the Suburban West, the Suburban East, the Suburban South, and the Suburban North.
Right.
Really, since like the 50s or 60s or so.
Right.
Yeah, and then they finally changed that. Those were a lot more kind of roughly geographically based, and had more to do with just who's like big school and large schools and whatnot. But starting in 2020, it was more to do with who's really good, and then if you're really bad, you're most likely going to be in the Suburban Orange and the Suburban Blue, pretty much. And then so therefore, if you're pretty bad, then you don't have to get your heads kicked in every year, like depending on what conference you're in, because that was kind of the case. Like if you were like in the Suburban South and you were just not so good, then it was it's a bad year to be bad. So
right.
Yeah, and then especially in the Suburban North for a long time. Suburban North from the 80s and 90s was one of the better conferences in the entire country, because like every year you had Hazelwood Central and Hazelwood East who were pumping out D1 players every other year seemingly, and at least, and those are just two schools right there, in the 90s, and then this was really, I think they won a state championship in 1998. So all those teams in one conference there was pretty loaded.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, do you want to do a little rundown of who you think might win each of these conferences?
Yes, let's do that. In the Suburban Yellow, oh my goodness, there are actually a lot of good teams in this conference.
I can tell you. So one thing I can tell you, Lafayette, they lose a ton.
Yeah, Lafayette loses a ton. I wasn't gonna pick.
Edinburgh, they were not so good this year. They went 3-7, but they do return a lot of starters.
Yeah, they do. Oh my gosh,
I think it's going to come down to Kirkwood and Eureka
again. Yeah, if I had to pick one, I'm gonna go with Kirkwood, but I wouldn't sleep on Eureka. I think those are definitely the two top teams. And you're right, Lafayette does lose a lot this year.
Yeah, Eureka, they bring back a good amount from their line, and they return their starting running back, and so I think they're going to be a little bit more seasoned with their rushing attack, which is their bread and butter.
Right.
And then their defense is always good. So yeah, I'll lean towards Kirkwood, but this is very, very early in the process right here.
Suburban Red is like wide open, John, because Hazelwood Central has got a coaching change, and they're probably going to lose a lot of players, so I'm not going to pick them.
Hazelwood East, they lost. I mean, they lost. They had a really good senior class. They graduated those guys.
I think you could win the Suburban Reds, Pattonville.
I agree. I think they bring back a good number of Beckerman, their quarterback, a really good season. Parkway North, they've been really consistent too. I mean, really, ever since 2021, they've been a pretty good program.
They have been.
So you can't sleep on them, but they are moving up from the green to the red.
Yeah,
and they're going to be playing against bigger schools. So I think it could come down to them and Pattonville. But then here's the other thing: like Rittner, like the last few years, they really could have won the Suburban Red.
They could have,
but they just have like a knack of just losing a lot of close games.
They've been knocking on the door, but they can't open it to success in that conference.
Yeah. One thing it's what's cool to see. So Seckman actually did a double leap. They were in the Orange for a while, but then they leapfrogged the Suburban Green and went to the Suburban Red.
Right.
I don't think they had and they weren't as good as they typically have been last year. Grant's not going to like me saying this. But I don't right now. I'd probably favor Pattonville and Parkway North right now, with a lean to Pattonville right there after the run that they made, and they even they were in a pretty easy district, but they were still like the most competitive they've been in quite a while too.
Suburban Orange, you have McClure North, Melville Northeast.
Well, we skipped the Suburban Green.
Oh, no, I thought Suburban Green. Okay, so Suburban Green, you go with Ladue in that conference or Parkway West.
Well, you kind of know where I'm going to lean.
I know Ladue. I figured that.
Parkway West, they do lose a lot of guys.
No,
but
I think they're building, John. I'm telling you.
They do have a lot of young talent coming up, but they do graduate over 30 seniors.
That's true. But I don't think it'll be as significant of a drop off as people think. You got Braden Bierman. Think about this: a quarterback as a solid D1 guy. You got Antoine Porter. You got Max Jones. You got Grayson Smith. You got Ethan Bain coming back. I think West won't have as huge of a drop-off. I think they'll play second. I do have a slight edge to Ladue because, Ladue's success over the past decade, I wouldn't even question the fact that the Rams will win the Suburban Green, but I think them and Parkway West are probably two teams I'd pick here.
And by the way, they play in week 9, so we're probably going to get if that is the case, we'll get a conference championship game in week 9 right there. Ladue brings back a lot of guys. They bring back 16 starters, 13 all-conference players. I've been saying this to everybody, like if they figure out their quarterback position, they're going to be really tough to beat, and they're going to be a really tough team to beat in Class 5. And
is this when Trevor Walker has his breakthrough year?
Let's hope so. I mean, he kind of had a breakout year last year.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, over 500 receiving yards and some really nice touchdowns there. And Vinvi is, he's got
he's a D1 guy.
Yeah, he's got a few Big Ten offers there. So I just think Ladue returns more than Parkway West, and then Ladue's got a really good defense too, and so I think that might be what tips them over the top. And then you can't sleep on Fox because they beat Ladue last year, and they were.
That's true. You can't
talk about a team they had some tough luck. I mean, they were in every game last year.
They were.
They feasibly could have won the Suburban Red last year, but they just they lost most of those games just in really tight margins. So Suburban Orange, this is going to be tough. I think I'll go with Oakville in this one, in this conference. Because
I'll pick either. Yeah, I'll go Oakville.
Northwest is good. They're going to be in the mix too because they return who is one of the highest. He had one of the best stat lines as a quarterback in the entire area as a dual threat guy. I would go with Oakville because I really like what their rushing game brings, and they just had a really nice season. If they can bring back enough guys, I think they'll be pretty good there.
Yeah, and then the Suburban Blue.
It's probably going to come down to U City and Jennings, just like last year.
Wow, U City and Jennings, yeah. My gosh, this is U City and Jennings.
We'll just say it's just those two teams.
It's those two teams.
Yeah. Because they were both really good last year. Although U City, they beat Jennings kind of by a decisive margin.
Yeah, they did.
I don't know at this point how many.
A new coaching change, correct? Coach Green came in his first year at Jennings last year and made an impact. So
yeah, and then same thing with U City's coach. That was only his second year there.
Second year. So
he got and then it just kind of like a 2-year turnaround. Really, now we were talking about U City in a completely different light than where they were for a long time.
Yeah. Is just Hazelwood West? Has Hazelwood Central even picked their new coach yet?
As of this moment, no.
Neither is Hazelwood West, by the way.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, 2 Hazelwood schools looking for 2 new coaches. It's just, I know like a lot of older people just from like 20 years ago, are just like, what are these conferences like? Like this isn't, and it does look completely different than what it used to be. I understand it is kind of shocking when you look at these new conferences, all these different teams, because for a long time, like teams were in this conference for years.
Yeah.
So you had your established rivalries, and you just had, it was just basically like, what's our non-conference going to look like? And one thing I should say also, like for a while, for the first 5 years of this new conference process, you were only able to have one. It was your week 1 opponent for the suburban schools where you could play anybody.
Right.
And you still had non-conference games, but they're all suburban schools.
Right.
Now, for the first 2 games of the season, you got 2 games, first 2 weeks, where you can play whoever you want, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they not want them traveling, I guess, or maybe they don't have they're not inclined to really play anybody in the area, I guess. You got to get your conference games in, but how many conference games they get? 4?
5 conference games.
5 conference games.
Everybody, this is 5 conferences of 6 teams, so that's 5 conference games.
Right.
Per team.
Okay, so then and then what do they do with the other remaining 2? They just play other suburban schools because you have 2 schools. Okay.
Yes, you do. Like I know Ladou's playing Parkway North in a non-conference game, and Ladou's also playing Eureka, so that'll be a huge game when that happens.
Massive.
Yeah. So it's a pretty cool deal. I know people have their different opinions on how this should be ran. Like I think some people would prefer it to be like kind of like how the Premier League does it, where if you keep winning, you should move up no matter what. Because there's probably a few schools that have won, but they prefer to not move up and stay down. Like you have that option. So I get where people are coming from with that.
It certainly does. I have no doubt. It kind of it prevents them. I mean, I guess if it's going to prevent them from playing more teams, but how many of them really are playing that competitive or schedule, or it really benefit them to play a competitive schedule? I don't think it really suits them. So I guess they play the suburban schools. But yeah, it's interesting, this new color tier system, and just
fairly new still. Yeah, it's only been about
a fairly
5
new
years.
system. It's a fairly new system. But then who are the sleeper teams in the suburban conferences? Are there any perennial sleepers that could emerge? I don't know.
Who would you say is sleepers? I think Parkway North would still
probably Parkway North
be a sleeper. Well, I think Pattonville would still be a sleeper, even though they went to the Final Four in Class 6. So it's kind of hard to be a sleeper there. But because it's like, define a sleeper, because if let's say like Lafayette, for instance, they've had 2 really good seasons back to back, they shouldn't be a sleeper, but we're already kind of sleeping on them a little bit. Do they only
do this for football? Or do they do this for other sports too?
They do this for other sports, like for basketball. They do. I think they do. Yeah, I think they do it for every other sport.
Okay.
Yeah, for basketball, for instance, it's like a 2-year cycle. Even in basketball, Webster Groves, they're in the yellow. Eureka's in the yellow. Kirkwood's in the yellow.
Okay.
even though Webster always wins that conference pretty easily. So
and they're going to win it again this year because they got Scotty
most
Atkins
likely. The Suburban Red in basketball I think is more fun because you got Ladue, Pattonville. Ladou's off the top of my head. Sorry guys. Even though they're not a contender for the conferences here, but like Pattonville, Parkway West, Parkway Central.
Central's that high up in the red. Wow.
Seckman. Well, I'm just naming names, but I just think in that conference there's a lot more parity.
Right.
Because with Webster, it's like, okay, you kind of know they're going to win this one. So that's why the Suburban Red's more fun in basketball every year.
Right. Because you know the parity.
Yeah. Lafayette's in that one too. And
is Eureka the Suburban Yellow this year?
Yeah. Yeah. They've been in
the Suburban Yellow for a while now.
Marquette is in there too. So it's a competitive conference. It's a pretty good conference.
Yeah. That's a Brody Owen did this past week with Marquette against Eureka.
They won.
Yeah, they won.
Yeah.
He had a 30 burger.
He did. Yeah, he's had a few of those.
Yeah, I knew he would too. I said on the show last week he was going to have a 30 burger against.
Oh,
he did.
Yeah.
He did. I got to give him a lot of credit. But I mean, and you replay this week's tournament of Mike Potts creation, the round of 8 tournament.
Yeah, it's a good one. I'm actually going to be there at the championship game tonight.
That's Vianney.
No, it's Clayton at Vianney. Clayton, they 16 points.
Oh yeah. Sebastian Bolden went off. He's had an impressive year. God bless him.
1,000
point score, 22 points.
I don't know the Clayton historical records, but I would imagine he will finish his career as at least like a top 3 scorer.
Yeah, easily. And the coach there is Sumner Ahern, who, for people who are unfamiliar, is related to the Ahern family, Danny Ahern and Blake Ahern. He's related to that family, I believe, as a cousin or a nephew of somebody.
I think he's a cousin.
He's a cousin.
Yeah,
yes.
But he's proven to be a really good basketball coach, and I think this is his 3rd year there now.
Yeah. I thought it was a great hire when they hired him. And
yeah, me too. I thought they're probably not going to get a whole lot of big name hires because, Clayton's kind of, not really known as a basketball school, but like Sumner, he plays college ball at Fontbonne. He was a nice player for Clayton back in the day. He's a really good shooter. And I think it helps that he's an alum of Clayton, and he clearly knows what he's doing. And I think one of his better coaching moves his first year was promote Sebastian to the varsity as a freshman, as a skinny freshman kid at that time, who was at that point, he was just a really good catch and shoot shooter, and grown his game over time. And I thought Clayton would. I knew they would be pretty good this year, but I just thought they'd maybe not be as high powered as offensively, at least, because they lost Faust, he was a really good 6'8" guy, and it was also a good rim protector. But no, it's with like Sebastian Bolden and Demarion Vergis. Those are 2 really good players. And the team, obviously, they're leading the team in just about every main stat. But I think they're just a little bit more balanced overall as a team. Like, they got other kids who, if you concentrate too much on one of those 2 guys, they'll be open and they can hit you a 3-pointer or take it to the basket. And but yeah, I gotta say that was a really impressive victory for them over Eureka. Easily their best win of the season.
Absolutely. When we come back, we are going to preview the Southern Illinois shootout at Althoff Catholic. Stay tuned. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to the Gateway Sports Venue High School Sports Show.
What are the keys to a great night out? Great food and drinks, great prizes, and great friends. Join us Thursday, January 22nd from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Key STL Burger, Bar, and Boogie in the Grand Center Arts District. Enjoy a live broadcast from Hayes Plus special guest Matt Adams. Dig into the best smash burgers in town and get your shot at winning opening day Cardinals tickets, autographed merch, and more. That's Thursday, January 22nd, 6 to 8 p.m. at the Key STL, 3225 Olive. Come eat, hang out, and win.
Tune in each week as STL Sports Central, the Lou Information Station, and the Too Many Men on the Mic podcast present the Mid-States Club Hockey Associate Game of the Week. Brought to you by Mattingly Lumber, Vantage Credit Union, Chicken and Pickle, and by the Watson Private Wealth Group at Stiefel.
Hockey parents, be honest. Are your tournaments this season feeling a little unpredictable? You've planned the weekend, but Halder, you deserve a tournament provider that's as organized as you are. And that's where Big Bear Tournaments comes in. No guessing games, no mystery matchups. We proudly list every registered team right on the website, so you always know exactly who's in your division. There's great competition, clear communication, and 0 last-minute surprises. Make your season smoother. Check out your next tournament at BigBearTournaments.com.
The Earl Austin Experience with Earl Austin Jr. Saturday mornings from 9 to 11. Brought to you by Fast Track Auto Transport, St. Louis's go-to company for all your vehicle transport needs. Visit ftautotrans.com or call 636-677-9004. LouInfo.com news headlines. Brought to you by Brown and Crouppen. GetBC.com.
With your LouInfo.com news, I'm Jared Cirillo. A former St. Louis television news anchor accused of stabbing her mother to death in Kansas is now ruled incompetent to stand trial. 48-year-old Angeline Mock is charged with intentional and premeditated first-degree murder for the death of 80-year-old Anita Avers. Avers was stabbed to death at a home in Wichita last year. A judge ordered Mock to be transferred to a state mental facility. Mayor Kara Spencer in St. Louis is blocking demolition of a shelter that was built by volunteers for the homeless to escape the cold, but it still can't be used until safety issues are resolved. Residents are urging city leaders to keep the shelter at 10th and Cass. They say it could house up to 45 people during extreme cold. Louis County officials say they're seeing a surge in cases of flu in numbers they consider very high. For the Lou Information Station, streaming 24/7 at louinfo.com. I'm Jared Cirillo.
Now, LouInfo.com weather. Presented by STL Sports Central. St. Louis sports. Anytime, anywhere.
Here's your LouInfo.com weather update. A few light rain showers today will stay and be gusty up to 30 an hour ahead of cold front. That'll be getting here tonight with a few snow showers, windy, and we're down around 20 on the low. Mix of sun and clouds and breezy Saturday with mid-20s. Sunny and 30 on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton for the Lou Information Station, screen 24/7 at louinfo.com and the free Lou Info app.
St. Louis sports fans, now you can go deeper with STL Sports Central Insiders. Get exclusive access to Bernie Miklasz, Randy Carricker, Mike Claiborne, Jamal Mayor. Plus, your chance to watch a Blues game in the alumni box himself. Also, monthly giveaways, Bernie's columns all week, and you'll be supporting local sports media. Join now at stlsportscentral.com.
Joined now by the boss, Dave Green. Dave, we're building something pretty special here, but running a growing media company takes more than great content. Tell us why you chose Home Bank for your business banking.
For us, it's all about relationships. With Home Bank, we're not just an account number. We know the people there, and they know us, our goals, and where we're headed. That personal connection makes all the difference.
Greener, when you say relationships, what does that really look like?
They not only know my name, Cam, they know our business. And when I need something, whether it's a response from someone I know and help with whatever I need.
That's huge. And for a business like ours, you need a bank that can move at the pace you're moving.
Exactly. We're in a fast-changing media world, and Home Bank has been a steady partner through it all.
Home Bank is a team behind our team. Visit myhomebank.bank or call 855-577-2001.
Home Bank, member FDIC, more than a bank, they're your business partner.
Hockey parents, be honest. Are your tournament season feeling a little unpredictable? You've planned the weekend, booked the hotel, hauled the gear. You deserve a tournament provider that's as organized as you are. And that's where Big Bear Tournaments comes in. No guessing games, no mystery matchups. We probably list every registered team right on the website. So you always know exactly who's in your division. There's great competition, clear communication, and zero last-minute surprises. Make your season smoother. Check out your next tournament at BigBearTournaments.com.
Now back to more of the GSV High School Sports Show on the Lou Information Station, streaming 24/7 at louinfo.com on the free Lou Info app.
Welcome back to the Gateway Sports Venue Show, our second segment to close out the 10 o'clock hour. We're going to preview some of the big games tonight, but first off, let's talk about the Southern Illinois Shootout Series that's going to be hosted at Althoff Catholic tomorrow.
Yes, that's right. Althoff Catholic is going to kick this off 9:30 a.m. for the girls matchup against Luther North. That is going to be an interesting matchup. I'm looking forward to that. And then we have at 11 o'clock a.m., we have Grant City taking on Madison.
The Madison Trojans.
Madison. My gosh, the lettering on this is so small. Then at 12:30 p.m., we have two Southern Illinois teams, Edwardsville versus Althoff Catholic. And then at 2 o'clock p.m., we have Alton versus MICDS. Then at 3:30 p.m., we have DeSmet versus Lamphere. Then at 5 o'clock p.m., we have Mount Vernon versus Belleville West. At 6:30 p.m., East St. Louis versus Douglas High School from Oklahoma. And then the main event of the evening at 8 o'clock p.m., Vashon versus Decatur MacArthur.
Yeah, this is a pretty good slate. I'm really looking forward to seeing Alton versus MICDS.
Me too. Samaj Stampley, these two guys, St. Louis Knights teammates back in the day. Samaj Stampley versus Jason Stokes. I am so excited for this one too, D1 guys. And you've got, of course, Keyshawn Mims and Brandon Clemens, that, three-headed monster for the Rams. And Tyler Ray has made himself more four-headed monster, to be honest. Yeah. They got a 6 feet 7 inch tight end and Gabe Weaver, who's committed to Minnesota. My goodness, those Rams are definitely going to be coming. I think that's going to be a great one. I'm excited to see the Smet versus Lamphere.
Yeah,
I like this.
Lamphere used to be really good in Springfield, Illinois. They used to be really good.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're doing as well this year. I know they're not doing as well as they used to be. But the Smet, that's going to be a tough game for them because the Smet's on a roll right now.
They certainly are.
After beating Chaminade, and then they just won the Lindbergh tournament. I think there's an official name for it, but it was they just beat Westminster for the championship game right there, and I think they got another. This is their next game that they'll be playing, and then Mount Vernon versus Belleville East. Mount Vernon's having a really good season down in Southern Illinois, and then they'll probably beat Belleville West in that one. I think that'll be a pretty good game, though. I don't know anything about Douglas, Oklahoma, but I'm assuming it's a big deal.
Yeah.
They playing, so they got to be pretty good.
Oh yeah.
If they're wanting to play East
That's
St.
a
Louis.
matchup. That's a matchup I'm looking forward to, though. I think East St. Louis will win that one.
Then Vashon versus MacArthur. This is MacArthur. I think they're undefeated, or they're just a one-loss team. I think they're third or second ranked in the latest Class 3A poll behind East St. Louis and Kankakee.
Yeah.
So, and Vashon, they're coming off of a rough game against Warren Township from the Highland shootout. And so they're just trying to rebound
haven't
from that.
been beating a lot of the out-of-state teams like they normally do in past years. I know they've gotten 2 transfers from CBC, Braden Alford and Christian Potts, but they still have D1 players such as Kane Caskell and Jimmy McKinney III. And, they've got some talent there. It's just they're not beating the out-of-state teams like they have in the past. But remember, the standard is the standard for the Vashon Wolverines. The V, I'm telling you, they have a standard there, and I don't think they're going to deviate off of that when it comes to a Missouri State Championship. But they've got a few more out-of-state opponents: Oklahoma City Douglas, and then they're playing Oklahoma City Douglas tonight. Vashon is so Douglas is playing Vashon tonight, and then they travel to East St. Louis tomorrow. No, travel to Althoff to play East St. Louis 30 p.m. 6 o'clock p.m. It's going to be at Vashon, Oklahoma City Douglas versus Vashon.
Very interesting there. All right, so that's the Southern Illinois Shootout Series.
Yes,
a good one there. Go check it out. Go check out a game or two there. Nights. Is it the rotating 8 tournament?
Yeah, I think the rotating 8 is happening.
Is that the official name? Okay.
Yeah.
That's Clayton at Vianney. Vianney are hosting it, and like you said, run by Mike Potts. This is a game between 2 high-scoring offenses, so I think we're going to see a game that's going to be in the 70s or the 80s in this one. I got Vianney winning this one. I
got Vianney winning this one. It's on their home turf.
Yeah, and I think they have a really good starting 5.
They do.
And with Mamadou Barry as a 7-footer protecting the rim, it's gonna force Clayton to, think twice of getting to the basket and maybe kicking out for some threes, and he's gonna alter a lot of shots right there.
Yep.
So I think it's gonna nonetheless be a high tempo, fun game. I'm gonna be there filming that one, so I'm looking forward to that. And then we got the Washington Tournament Championship game with Francis House Central versus St. Dominic.
St. Dominic's winning in that one, or South Central by a wider margin than they beat CBC last week.
I believe they've already played against each other, St. Dominic and Francis South Central, and
yeah,
St.
and they
Dominic
won that one 64-52. So
exactly. So it was fairly close. It was. I don't think it was that much of a blowout between those two teams.
No.
We got to give Francis South Central some praise. This is their best season that I can ever remember.
Yeah, I mean 12-3. Remember when they had Miles Estrada there, and I didn't think it was ever going to get any better for them. But I mean, they've got some height there. Obviously, Jack Brown is on the basketball team. He's a D1 tight end prospect for those. They got some height. They're Wyatt, 5-inch senior. They've got 6'7" senior. I mean, they've got. Oh my God, they got another kid, Xavier Morrison, 6'5" senior. So they have 3 seniors, 6'5" and above. My goodness me. This is actually a taller team than I originally anticipated.
Yeah, they are deceptively
goodness.
tall.
Yeah. Wow. And then they also have a kid, Jamarius Britt, who plays for the Gateway Knights AAU team on the New Balance Prelude 32 circuit. So they've got him and they've got all this height. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And their last loss was to St. Dominic in the St. Dominic Christmas tournament semifinals.
Wow.
And the Spartans are on a 6-game winning streak right now.
6-game winning streak.
Yeah. And St. Dominic they don't have as long of a winning streak, but they have won. They're 12-2, and I'm trying to get this stat correct.
The last loss was to Vianney, and when they were 64-57, they lost to Vianney, and they lost to Marquette 58-50. But all the rest of the games, I mean, they had a major win over CBC 70-48.
They've
My
won,
gosh.
Yes, on 11 the last 12 games. Yeah, their only loss was Vianney, who Vianney shot really well in that game over at CBC a few nights later, and breaks your little heart.
I know it does. It was painful. It's painful.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be that wide of a margin. I know you did, John, at least
I didn't think it'd be that much of a blowout. I just thought St. Dominic would win.
Man, they had the adrenaline behind them. They had the home crowd, and that. Oh gosh, this is one of those other games.
So that championship game 30 tonight at Washington High School right there. It's a pretty late start time, but
at 6:30 p.m. At SLU. It's going to be CBC versus SLU, 6:30 p.m. SLU 2-7 on the year. CBC 8-4. I do expect my cadets to win this one, but
I do expect a close game though.
I do expect a closer game than people expect. Yeah,
SLU.
I would say so.
That's kind of been their thing over the last few years, ever since post Nick Kramer.
Right, they'll just have close games. They've
just been a team who's every once in a while they're capable of getting an upset, but they're typically going to lose like most of those because they still play a tough schedule.
Yeah,
they're not slowing down. They're not slowing things down in that regard.
Dallas Jesuit this year. They lost 61-43. They played Modern Day where they actually won that one. They played Cardinal Ritter, Webster Groves, and Vianney and Chaminade.
They're not avoiding the smoke.
No, they're not. No, they are not. And they won't for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah. So we still both expect CBC to win that game, but we do expect it to be a fairly close encounter.
Yeah.
So next up, East St. Louis at Edwardsville.
This game may be closer than people anticipate, depending on who East St. Louis has playing in this game.
It's either going to be a East St. Louis blowout or a really close game that goes either way.
I think it'll be actually a really close game that goes either way. It's going to be at Edwardsville tonight. So
Edwardsville, by the way, they're 12-4.
Yeah, they're 12-4. They lost Herbert Martin. He graduated, but always a solid program over there in Edwardsville.
They really are. Dustin Battis has done a great job there ever since he's been there almost like 7-8 years now. Yeah.
Yeah,
took over for a long time head coach Mike Waldo.
That's right. Waldo ended up becoming an assistant at SIUE, and Micah Butler is their leading scorer this year. He came over from Chaminade a couple years ago, and since then, he's pretty much it's been all gas, no brakes for him over at Edwardsville. And of course, they've got Roman Weller, Brady Niemi, and Matthew Wilson, and Devion Hill Lomax, for those who don't know, is a Mizzou commit for football. So the Tigers have a roster that can compete. I don't think they'll win the Southwestern Conference, but they are 12-2 on the year, and they just
12-4.
12-4.
Yeah.
12-4. And
they've won 8 out of their Tigers have won 8 out of their last 9. They were 4-3 before Christmas right there. Yeah. They've kind of snuck up on some people. I think they're right there. And also their one loss during this good run was a 5-point loss to Clayton,
right?
In a game where Edwardsville, they were leading by 16 at halftime or just in the second half. So that's a game that they would love to have back, but kind of speaks also a little bit to, how well they've been playing. They just weren't able to close that game out right there.
Yeah.
So, and they're going up against loaded for this team. It's a 25-point victory over Collinsville. So this is, but they actually played earlier in December 5th, and East St. Louis only won 68-60.
Right.
And I think this is a better Edwardsville team since that time. I still got East St. Louis won.
Of course. You're not going to question that.
No, I can't. But I think this could be a sneaky good game, though.
Oh, I think it'll be a sneaky good game. That's
what I just said.
No, I know, but I don't disagree. I can. And then, of course, I think we talked about a little bit earlier. Principia is going up against Calvary Christian at 9:00 p.m. at Missouri State University. So if anyone wants to make the drive out the Bass Pro tournaments, they certainly can. And, of course, a lot of Southwestern games tonight. Collinsville is at Alton at 7:30 p.m. and Belleville East at O'Fallon at 7:30 p.m. So literally the Southwestern Conference in Illinois has got a bunch of games tonight. Parkway Central is traveling to Troy Buchanan at 7:00 p.m. Just a loaded night. St. Mary's is traveling to Sikeston at p.m.
Sikeston's a great place to go watch a basketball game,
isn't it?
Yeah.
I love it. I love going to Sikeston. And I'll tell you this, they've got a very good senior there, Markel Murray. He came over from Cape Girardeau Central. So the Sikeston Bulldogs going up against one of the best dunkers in the state of Missouri, Gary Johnson.
So best dunker in the state, baby.
One of them.
Dragons on me. On 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, Ryan Swingler graduated from St. Mary's, played basketball at St. Mary's, and I'll tell you that what a team they have. Shion Hobson is one of their younger players. He's a freshman on the come up. Elijah Alexander is all freshman on the team. He is also a starter for football at offensive tackle. They've got Josh Grimes, who's the younger brother of Julie Grimes. Jordan Frazier is senior. I mean, they got a loaded roster. They got a lot of guys coming down the pike. Chase Austin, who's also a freshman, so a lot of their young guys are getting some reps here. Marvin Neals, but the Dragons are kind of building this year and are looking towards the future. Of course, being coached by Brian Turner, but they are 13-2, John. 13-2, though not playing the most competitive schedule in the world, but they've only lost 2 games: Lee Summit North and CBC. However, they may have some tough games coming up as they also play CBC and again this year, and they also are traveling to DeSmet. So tough games coming up. They are 13-2, not the most competitive schedule, but they're traveling to Sikeston tonight. If you're in Sikeston and you're listening, if whoever's in Sikeston, that's a game to look forward to. Pattonville versus Borgia at 7:00 p.m. Anyone wants to see Emory Warme or
Warman?
Warman?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's also that Washington tournament game.
That's right. That's
at Washington High School.
Yeah. If anyone wants to watch Emory Warman put up an absolute clinic, go to that game. Fort Zumwalt South at Fort Zumwalt North tonight at 7:00 p.m.
Yeah, nice. It's not the Battle of O'Fallon, but it's a battle of the Zumwalts there.
That's all right. And, of course, Marquette traveling to Kirkwood. I expect Marquette to win this one, but,
I think that's another deceptively good game right there. Kirkwood,
it is.
They've kind of been an interesting team this
5-5.
year. 5. Yeah, they've put together some pretty good, some not so good ones. But, I can see that game being a pretty competitive one. I would expect Marquette to win that.
Yeah, of course.
And then also at Vianney, but before the Clayton Vianney game, I think you got a good matchup on paper. Eureka versus Parkway North.
Yes,
in that one. That's 2 10-win teams there that are playing. So if you want to get some action before the Clayton Vianney game, then just get there at 5:00 and the third place game.
I'll admit I'm sentimental towards Parkway. Was my 8th grade gym teacher back at Parkway Central Middle. So before he got the head varsity basketball coaching job at Parkway North, he taught 8th grade gym at Parkway Central Middle. So I've sentimental ties here.
I saw him. Yeah. This is going back a few years now, but yeah, he was an assistant at Parkway Central.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
That's how he got the job. And then he played at True Mate back in the day with Austin Kirby. That's how he got the gig at Parkway Central.
Wow.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah. Didn't he play? I believe he played at Clayton. He graduated from Clayton. This is a small world after all, and I've been impressed with Eureka. Surprised they lost to Clayton. That kind of caught me off guard a little bit, but
especially by that much. I didn't, because usually Eureka has been really good on defense, and so that's really rare of them to allow 76 points.
The battle of two former Truman State teammates are going up against each other in this game here. This is going to be very interesting. I can't have no doubt.
That's a heck of a stat right there.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
By the way,
St.
John Bosco in California is playing kickapoo at Missouri State University. I don't think I overlooked this matchup. It's going to be at 6:00 p.m. St. John Bosco in California.
And then we got a Fulton County rivalry with Festus at Hillsboro at 7:00.
Right. Anybody's interested in that. And, of course, Logan Rogersville and Missouri State University now are taking a Wheeler from Georgia. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness me.
It's, the best shop hoops tournament, whatever it's called. It's loaded every year. And it was on ESPN one year,
It was on ESPN.
That was when tournament. I think, Vashon was in the championship game there. That's when they had Mario McKinney. Year exactly that was, but that was one of the. It was a McKinney year there.
You know Mario McKinney is coaching now.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, he's coaching. I heard it the other day on a podcast that Mario McKinney is coaching basketball, and I'm like, wow, I'm a little surprised by that. I remember when he played in high school.
Oh yeah, it just feels so recently that he was playing in high school now.
Played in college forever though.
Yeah,
was there like 7 years. All these guys are still around in college. Davion Bradford's still kicking into Tulane.
That's good for him. I mean, then that's I guess the eligibility stuff, and then NIL. Hopefully, he's making some good money playing.
Yeah. So. A lot of St. Louis area football guys making noise in the transfer portal. Tion Gray is now at Notre Dame.
Who's the kid from Parkway West? He's at Michigan State now. I should know his name.
Frederick Moore?
No. Yes, he is. But I'm thinking, no, he went to Parkway West. Graduated in 2022. Went to Lindenwood for a year.
Trey Bell. Yeah, I remember that. Trey Bell was committed to Lindenwood to play both football and basketball, then ended up just playing football. Then he went to Iowa State last season. Now he's at Michigan State. Dallas Winter Johnson is now at Oklahoma State. Notre Dame. Jacoby Oliphant is now at Kansas State.
That's right.
My goodness me. Tyson Ford is at UCLA. I mean, we got guys everywhere.
It's great. And I remember where some of these guys originally committed because like Tyson Ford committed to Notre Dame.
Yeah. He was at Cal Berkeley this past season.
Yeah. So this is his third school now. I guess third school in 4 years there.
Yep.
Yeah. So no, I think we have a lot of really good like fourth and fifth year guys in college right now. From
Chase
St. Louis.
Hendricks is at Cal Berkeley.
There you go. Yeah.
He had to put a heck of a year at Ohio.
St. Mary's guy, Ryan.
Yeah, he had a heck of a year at
great year at Ohio. He was
Didn't he
leading in like
he was.
Yeah, he's going to get himself a nice bag there. And they got the freshman quarterback Jerron, and now he's going to be a sophomore, and they're just killing it. They're just absolutely all over the country, guys. All these St. Louis, the guys that we cover on this show end up blossoming into these perennial superstars, and they transfer up. So for those who are discouraged,
yeah.
Oh man. Now, I mean, guys get so down on themselves, like, oh, I'm going to D2. But look at Jay Harris. Look at Jay Harris, who's now the running back at Kansas State. He started at Northwest Missouri State. Then he went to Oregon. Then he went to now he's at Kansas State.
He went to Timberland.
Yeah, he went to Timberland. Yeah, class of 2022 there.
Really, he was a really good running back there. And I did like you don't know like how he's going to shake out, but it's like, well, he's this tall guy. He's fast and he's pretty good. And like you also kind of think like, wow, like why is it like a bigger private school try to like get this guy because like he's really good.
Yeah, right. And who would have thunk that Cody Schrader would have panned out in this manner? He literally is basically played for every NFL team, and
feels that way.
Yeah, it feels that way. He's at Truman State, then he ended up at Mizzou. I mean, it's just incredible the way that a lot of these guys, and then of course a lot of the guys from that we've covered like 6-7 years ago still playing college ball. Yaya Keita, Sekou Gassama is still around.
So fun fact about Cody Schrader, he is the first player I ever interviewed on the GSV's format.
Wow, that's right.
He was a junior at Lutheran South, but he was already this big stat guy where he was, he had all these rushing yards, and you knew he was already one of the best players in the area, right? But I just never kind of allow myself to think like, well, this guy, he could be in the NFL one day. It's like, well, no, like he's like a 5'9" like guy out of Lutheran South, like, but yeah. Wonders, and which is where I thought, he'd probably go to a school that size, and then, Mizzou really just took a flyer on him, and he's really good. fortunately for Mizzou, they've had some really good running backs since Cody Schrader now. But he was one of their better running backs they've had for a while statistically, before and since he's been there. So it's really cool that he's able to, be in the NFL and he's kind of been floating around there, but he's in it though.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, if you want to follow us on X, that is at GSV_STL in all caps. And then on Instagram, it is at GSV_STL, but it's not in all caps on Instagram. And if you want to go to YouTube, it's at Gateway Sports Venue. If you want to follow me on all the socials, on Instagram, it's at Brody_Herman on Instagram. And of course, on X, it is at Brody Herman. The underscore is after my last name on X. It's at Brody Herman _ is after my last name. And of course, John, what are all your socials, my friend?
Yeah, at John Huff _ on Twitter, and then I also have an Instagram account, and I actually don't know the exact number, but just go search John Huff and you'll probably find me there.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, this is the Gateway Sports Venue High School Sports Show. If you want to get involved and find out how to get involved, go to luinfo.com. This has been the Gateway Sports Venue High School Sports Show for Brody and John. Thank you guys for listening and being with us right here on the Lou Information Station, live and on demand at luinfo.com.
Hey, St. Louis.